Yo, original OC with you on this Friday night, the 10th of January. What's up, guys? Breaking news. Let's go to the echo. Bad echo. Yeah, what's up, guys? Friday night, original OC channel. Zuckerberg strikes again. Zuck does it again. This is unbelievable, guys. This guy just keeps on firing. It's like a watch a day. Zuckerberg today made an appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast. I believe that's what it's called. Does anybody know what the official name of it is? Is it called the Joe Rogan Show? Joe Rogan Show. It's called the Joe Rogan Experience. The Joe Rogan Experience, which is the podcast that he does on Spotify. Shout out to Spotify, great streaming service. But Mark Zuckerberg was a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify today. And lo and behold, he dropped another bomb. Dropped another bomb on the wristwatch world. A FP Journe FFC, which is a platinum watch that was made in collaboration with director, filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola. And whoa, we'll be analyzing this photograph for the next 6 hours here on the program. But first, I want to remind everybody in the chat to upvote the live stream. Let's get to 10 likes. Let's get to 10 likes right off the bat. Upvote the live stream. Let's say hello to Andy Louie. What's up, Andy Louie? Or Andy Lewis. It's a fake name, so don't try to reverse engineer it. Don't try to Google it. It's a fake name, but it is his new screen name, Andy Louie. Howdy, y'all. Andy Louie, proud owner of the Patek Philippe Cubitus, the first person in the world to unbox a Patek Cubitus live, and did it right here on this channel. Got Logan Hall's Grill Streams in the chat. What's up, Logan? Good to have you with us. Happy Friday night. Got Pip. Hey, Pip. It's good to see Pip again. Who likes Brussels sprouts? I do not love Brussels sprouts. I like plenty of green vegetables. I like plenty of vegetables, to be honest with you. I like corn. I like carrots. But of the green vegetables, I like broccoli. I like asparagus. I like peas. And I like those much more than I like Brussels sprouts. Name your favorite green vegetable in the chat, and I will let you know whether or not I like those or I don't like them. It's called riveting content, guys. Riveting Friday night content. That's what you get. That's what you get for tuning in. OC's green vegetable likes and dislikes. Listen, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a professional broadcaster. You get what you get, and that's about it. Low quality content, guys. Riveting, low quality content. We've got Goldfinger in the chat. What's up, Goldfinger? By the way, you can jump on the panel. The link is pinned. We're going to be going through this in excruciating detail. Evan G. Man. Zuckerberg. That is Evan G's derogatory reference to Mark Zuckerberg. Didn't even know watches existed like 6 months ago, and since then, now he has climbed to the peak of FP Journe. Shows that this whole thing is a crock. How dare you, Evan G? Listen, the guy is a genuine, bona fide. He caught the bug. He caught the bug, just like all of us do. You know, He went to India in March of 2024. He saw the Indian guy with the recharge mail. He said, "Listen, you know what? I'm rich as fuck. How come I don't have some watches?" He called up the guy. He called up a guy. I know a guy. He said, "Listen, I want watches. And he's getting watches now. Is this my personal favorite? No, it isn't. I associate this watch with Watch Falcon. Shout out to Watch Falcon on Instagram. When I see this watch, I think of Watch Falcon because when I met Watch Falcon in Geneva a few months ago, I met him at the FP Journe restaurant. I was there with Sean, Mr. G. Mr. G and I were having dinner at the FP Journe restaurant. Shout out to Mr. G. Thank you very much for booking it. By the way, we're going back again this year. We already have our reservations. I won't tell you which night. I don't want the paparazzi hanging outside. And we will have security, so don't even try to accost us. But yeah, we're putting together a big dinner at the FP Journe restaurant. And I met Watch Falcon there, and he was wearing this watch. Shout out to Watch Falcon. What do I think of the watch? I think this is a great watch for Watch Falcon. I don't know why Zuckerberg has it, but he's obviously buying some banger friggin' pieces. And listen, he has tons of money, so he is the watch messiah for 2025. Goldfinger says, OC, Pip, Logan, Evan G. What's up, Goldfinger? Good to have you in the chat. We got Mathis in the chat. What's up, Mathis? Yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Who else do we have? We have Marco B in the chat. We got Chris J in the chat. We got Sammy the Bunny. We got Think Real. Who else is there? Guys, we have 40 people watching already. How is that even possible? Are these bots? We were never mind. Bots. Let's not go there. We all know who the channels are that use bots. This one is not one of them. But if listen, maybe there's like 4 or 5 viewers out there and the rest are bots. To prove that you're not a bot, please type in a comment in the chat and please upvote the live stream. Bots cannot enter comments. If they do, they all sound the same in broken ethnic dialect. Sammy the Bunny says ZUCK the cuck. Another, again, derogatory term for Mark Zuckerberg, which I do not condone and I do not support. The views and opinions expressed by Sammy the Bunny and Evan G, who referenced Mark Zuckerberg in a derogatory manner, do not represent the views and opinions of other panelists, other commenters, the Original OC channel, or Original OC channel LLC. Zuck the Cuck could spend $1 million a day for 550 years before going broke. His watch is kind of embarrassing. This is not his first FP Journe. It is not his first. He has several others. I think this is at least his third. Logan Hall says, vegetable talk in a relaxed format. Thank you. And nobody, not a single person entered in a green vegetable in the chat. Green vegetables are hated. Green vegetables are despised by the viewing public. I'll say that I like broccoli. I mean, I don't love broccoli. I like broccoli. I like peas better than broccoli. I like peas in my chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie with a little peas and carrots. Yeah, I like peas in my spicy chipotle chicken pasta from Cheesecake Factory. Shout out to Cheesecake Factory. I love the spicy chicken chipotle pasta. It's got peas in it. Yep, but we got vegetable talk here. If you want to type in your favorite green vegetable, type it in. Let's see. Let's get to, guys, do we have 10 likes yet? Come on, guys. Let's get to 10 likes. on the live stream. Think Real says this should be on a lizard strap. Why? Why? Why should it be on a lizard strap? Anime, is it personal preference? I'm not sure, but let me know in the chat. Got Mr. Fahrenheit in the chat. He confirms he is not a bot. Woo! What's up, Mr. Fahrenheit? Good to have you with us. We have Mike G in the chat. Mike G says, broccolini is the one. Broccolini. What's up, Mike G? Hey, huge shout out to The Real Cars and Chrono on Instagram. Check out his Instagram. It's private, so don't be offended if he doesn't accept your request. The Real Cars and Chrono on Instagram. $50 super chat. Happy New Year, OC and the Colony. Fire, fire, fire. Really appreciate that. Jump on the panel if you can. I know you're probably heading out to dinner. It'd be interesting to hear your take. This is now Zuckerberg's third FP Journe. Cars and Chrono has a beautiful FP Journe. I don't know the name of the model. It's the one with like, it's got the dial on the right-hand side, and it's got maybe a tourbillon on the left, or some kind of open face thing on the left. It's a black label. Really beautiful, beautiful FP Journe. He used to have it on a, I believe on a white strap, beautiful white alligator strap. But unfortunately, like just by using it, like wearing it, like some of the blue dye from his, jeans kind of got on the strap and ruined it. Yeah, but beautiful FP Journe. So Zuckerberg has like the Havana, and he also has the Centigraph, and he has this one. Thank you, Whole Milk, for being a fantastic moderator, by the way. Whole Milk, favorite green vegetable equals capers. Is that true? That's awful. That's a is that a vegetable? I think capers are like a spice. What else is going on? Hey, we got Watch It's Brian in the chat. There was a photo of Zuck with an Octasport on as well. That's right, the Octa Centigraph, I believe. I think that's the name of the model. It's got 3 dials on it, 2 up at the top and 1 on the bottom. Yep. Yep, and he also has a Havana Brown. But his latest pickup is the FFC, which stands for Francis Ford Coppola. This is produced in very limited numbers. It's a platinum case, and it features a hand that actually flips you off, which is a kind of unique feature about the watch. What's up, Brian? Ray is in the chat. Ray, spinach, summer squash, zucchini, butternut squash, and spaghetti squash. Good choices. I forgot about zucchini. I love fried zucchini. I also do zucchini on the grill. I do that in a splash of olive oil with salt and pepper. And then I put it in one of those aluminum foil trays. And I'm usually doing zucchini and onions or zucchini and broccoli at the same time on the barbecue. Cars and Chrono says, cool piece, saw this at the boutique. Yeah, this is... I was mentioning this earlier that this is often on the wrist of Watch Falcon. Watch Falcon met in Geneva at the FP Journe restaurant a few months ago. By the way, Watch Falcon was also at an event with Cars and Chrono a couple of months ago as well. It was like a unbelievable event for Vacheron Constantin in the hills. And I remember Cars and Chrono was posting on IG, and Watch Falcon was posting on IG at the same time. They were on opposite ends of the table. There were two big tables at this FP Journe event. It looked like an absolutely beautiful scene. By the way, huge our thoughts and prayers and best wishes are with everyone affected in Los Angeles. Those who are impacted by the devastating wildfires there. Just absolutely, those fires have ravaged entire neighborhoods. Thousands homeless, thousands without jobs now, thousands with just left with the clothes on their back. And like all celebrities, Cars and Chrono has posted that he's safe, which is important. I hope everybody's safe, and I hope everybody's doing well. But our hearts and thoughts are with those who've been impacted by this terrible tragedy. Ditch the aluminum tray. You get no char doing that. I know you get some char because you get a little bit of crispiness because of the oil and the zucchini on the tray. I don't like to do it directly on the barbecue because they end up falling through the slats because I slice them in like 3/4 inch slices. And if I do that, I end up losing some pieces in the grill. By the way, anyone is welcome to join the panel. Well, not anyone. Not anyone, let's be clear. But if you're a watch person, you're welcome on the panel. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. What I will do is I'll drop it right here. Boom. Thank you, Logan, for the advice. By the way, Logan is a member of the original OC channel. Thank you for being a member here. If you would like to be a member, if you don't have a star next to your name, that means you're not a member. So here you go. All right, here we go, guys. Joining the panel all the way from Los Angeles, who's going to give us a on-the-ground report on what's going on.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, it's been a spell, everyone, guys. How's everything? Hey, give me 1 sec. Let me, I just want to grab some water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. It's good for Cars and Chrono to jump on. Guys, if you want to join us on the panel, the link is dropped in the chat. We're going to be talking about Zuckerberg and anything else you want to talk about. And if you don't have a star next to your name, by the way, if you do have a star next to your name, please click on the currency icon next to the chat. You may have a member milestone chat that's there waiting to be used. Please use it before you lose it. Those do expire every month. So please go through there and click on it. Make sure you use your member milestone chats. We've got Mr. G in the chat. Mr. G says, it's insane, Zuck. I think he's going to end up buying $1 million watch every week. What do you think about that? He's going to buy $1 million watch every single week. And it's like buying a pack of gum for him. The guy makes like $1 million an hour. So this is really like nothing special. 40 people watching, guys. Upvote the live stream. Let's see if we can get to 20 likes. Let's see if we can get to 20 likes. Hey, we got CQ from David SW in the chat. CQ the Watch Guy. Check him out on Instagram. That's CQ_ the Watch Guy on Instagram. Zach not playing games. No, he's not fucking around. Zuck is not fucking around. I think we're only 10 days into 2025, and it could be argued that Zuck is collector of the year just by the impact that he's made over the past several months. If he accelerates or just continues at the same pace, he's easily going to be watch collector of the year. All right, CQ's going to hop on in 5. Cool. We've got Pete O in the chat. What's up, Pete O? Pete O says, Zuck goes to Fat Indian's wedding, and now he likes watches. Okay, listen, Pete. Listen, we all get inspired in different ways. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with going to a wedding and seeing a guy with a nice watch and going, you know what? How come I'm not into watches? Watches are kind of cool. He certainly got the means. He has the disposable income. So, I mean, we all get inspired in different ways. Zuck, at this point, clearly loves watches, and he's a bona fide collector. If you disagree, jump on the panel. Billy in the chat says, did you watch the interview with Mark Zuckerberg and Joe Rogan? He spilled all the beans. No, I did not. I don't watch or listen to the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify, and I can't play it here either because it is copyrighted material, and Spotify would sue me into oblivion. So this picture is from Mark Zuckerberg's appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience from today, I believe. So Whole Milk says, does Zuck have too much of his net worth in watches? No, come on, Whole Milk. This is like a drop in the ocean. Question for the chat. Does every watch that Zuck wears make you want the watch more or less? That's an interesting observation. Typically, when you have celebrities wear things, it brings tons of attention to it. I think in this case, Zuckerberg is bringing massive amount of attention. He's putting a massive spotlight on the brands that he wears, including Rubel Forsey, FP Journe, and others. The one brand he doesn't have is Richard Mille, believe it or not. He has Patek. He has a lot of Patek. He has Moser, de Bethune, Bulgari. He has a lot of brands, but he doesn't have Richard Mille. He has a vintage Rolex I saw. Let's get to 20 likes, guys. Holy crap, there's over 50 people watching. Who would have thought that when we started this channel 6 weeks ago that we would have 50 people watching on a Friday night? Amazing. Moser, bah. Moser, bah. I'm not a huge fan of Moser. But he's got it. And he's got de Bethune. He's got de Bethune. He's got vintage Rolex. He's got Patek Philippe, obviously. And several FP Journes. And Pete, by the way, tell us, how did you find the live stream? Very curious. How did you find out about us? Are you just kind of surfing YouTube and clicked on live and found us that way? Or are you a watch person? You've been around the streams? Let us know. If you're new to the show, guys, let us know how you found us. We do care. But yeah, this is Mark Zuckerberg's appearance on Joe Rogan Experience was picked up by Insane Luxury Life. I'm going to read it. Hey, look at this. Cars and Chrono, new member. Thank you so much, man. Cars and Chrono became a YouTube member of the original OC channel at the campaign senior consultant level, which is the $300 a month level. Wow. I'm going to take...
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Shout out to Cars and Chrono becoming a senior consultant level member, $300 a month level, guys. That's insane. Terrific.
Let me check and read the you guys issue refunds? Hey, what's up, Rusty?
No refunds. Thank you for the 5-year subscription, by the way. I really appreciate that.
Man. YouTube knows what they're doing, man. For sure.
You're locked in.
I am.
Have you
been?
Happy
New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you too, and Happy New Year to everybody. And thoughts and prayers. I know that you actually had to kind of you had to. Did you evacuate one night or no? You stayed.
Yeah. So, shit. Hey guys, Happy New Year. Oh man, it's just been a weird week. So I'm sure folks have been following, and if they have any sense of where the fires are. So in LA on the west side by the Malibu PCH Palisades, there's a raging fire and still actually going. Mm-hmm. And on the right is Pasadena and Altadena, and that's a massive fire. So we're kind of caught in the middle.
Yeah. You also have that what's it called? That park that's over by Hollywood? Rumson?
Runyon. Yeah, Runyon Park.
Runyon.
Yeah. So
Runyon.
Super popular. I've hiked it. For particularly West Hollywood. It's a really popular trail. So part of this is, you're thinking there's these fires, but embers, they travel. But even so, we're still quite a ways from both these fires. But 2 nights ago, Runyon just lit up. And we're like, what? Because it was just such a distance. And then it just started flaring up. And then we started getting those alerts on the phone. And then as we're looking over the hill, smoke's come up. And now that really hit home. Like, shit. Yeah, we may have to get out of here.
Yep.
So here's one of those things, my wife, so I always have a go bag, right? I've got a go bag prepared. And this is one of the times I'm sitting back on the couch, just watching her scramble, trying to get all the crap together, right? I'm like, what did I tell you, hon? Zombie apocalypse, at some point you may need a go bag. And it finally really hit home. But luckily, LAFD, they were doing chopper runs all night. The air wasn't too crazy, so they were able to dump water aggressively. Constantly just heard choppers going. They just, crushed the fire. So.
Which car do you grab if you have to leave suddenly?
We're all just going into my wife's sedan. We're out of there. Yeah. Oh. But it's interesting, the psychology. And I can't imagine folks that lost their homes. I've had a lot of friends that lost everything. But it's one of those things where as we're leaving, there are very few things that really, as I thought about, if we had to get out of here, that shit, everything's replaceable, right? I couldn't really think of anything in the house like, oh my God, I got to grab this. Otherwise, it's going to really hurt. I mean, outside a handful of core essentials, everything's basically replaceable. So,
well, there's probably artwork that's either unique or has sentimental value. You probably
that's
have,
true. Yeah, but
jewelry, but luckily jewelry is transportable for the most part.
The art's all, that's all going to go up in flames. I grabbed a few watches, but most of those I just left behind. But it's crazy. It's surreal. I mean, I think things are starting to calm down. The only weird thing about the Runyon, and I'm not the biggest conspiracy theorist, it's just a weird fire. Right, there's another fire in the West Hills. They call it an arsonist, lighting up fires. And now people are talking about how BlackRock, some of these guys are, there's always folks on the fringes, but.
Yeah, I don't believe any of the conspiracy theories. Do I believe that there are some isolated circumstances where someone who's involved in a commercial building, that's been vacant for years or whatever and can't offload it, and has it insured up to the gills, wants to take advantage of a situation like this, sure. Or some people who may be upside down on their car loans, whatever they decide to torch. Sure, that happens in isolated fashion, but I don't think there's a widespread conspiracy to burn down Southern California.
Sure. But I haven't been in the neighborhoods. I mean, everything's been pretty much shut down by LAPD, CHP. But I look at these photos now, in light in the aftermath. I mean, it literally looks like a nuclear bomb went off in these neighborhoods. I mean, these are the neighborhoods that, Sean, I'm sure he's very familiar with. When you go on drives, it's the most scenic drives. And I was literally there a couple of weeks ago for New Year's. And like some of these restaurants are just gone, right? There's a restaurant called Moon Shadows, one of my earliest dates. I have so many fond memories with me and Mrs. Cars, and like just like evaporated. Yeah, it's a real surreal, like seeing it.
It sucks. It sucks. I mean, sure. I mean, you do have a lot of celebrities. You have some very, very wealthy people who lost mansions and beach houses, but there's a lot of ordinary people too who worked all their lives to have a nice house in a nice neighborhood, and that was their only house. And
these are folks that are not, by the way, they're not even wealthy by any means. These are folks that have been living there for decades, right? And the issue as well is like a lot of these houses were not insured, right? Now you're hearing horror stories about, because like the thing about particularly those fire regions, and when it popped up a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, like a lot of these carriers, they were just basically canceling policies, and to insure some of those properties was just like exorbitant. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And I was having a discussion with a lot of my friends over the past few days, like, would you even really want to rebuild? Right? Like knowing that's such a high risk area. And
yeah, I think that's going to be, a lot of people are talking about it, but I think maybe they're in shock. Like, like a lot of people aren't going to rebuild. I think, cross your fingers, after the shock is gone and the dust settles, that people will be like, okay, I know is it going to be tough with, strained resources for construction, for materials, for contractors, a lot of, of course.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a massive struggle. Like even right now, because of pandemic, that was a struggle. But now, Troy, good luck finding an architect and builders. And I'm going to get a little bit more water.
Yep. Shout out to Double Crown, who's a member of the Original OC channel for 5 months. He's at the same level as Cars and Chrono, believe it or not, which is the campaign senior consultant level, which is the $300 a month level. Thank you very much, Double Crown. Shout out to Cars and Chrono, he says. And we've also got Mr. G in the chat, also a member for 5 months. Pray for LA. Both mayor and governor need to resign. Yeah, I know there's a that there is a kind of I know that there's like people want to politicize it, and they want to listen. They want to blame. They want to look for blame. I think the reality is, I don't think regardless of who was in office, who the mayor was, or who the governor was, whether the budget was decreased by 2% or increased by 10%, there is nothing that would have stopped.
Yeah, that wouldn't have mattered.
Fires.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot being made about the budget, but this was like, it's just wow. I couldn't. And now, I mean, there's just a blanket of smoke covering the city. The air sucks pretty bad. The irony is, last night, one of my friends' his birthday. Like, I just need to get out and kind of unwind, and I'm going for cigars. And first thing, Miss Car's like, so let me get this straight. The city's completely full of smoke, but you want to go smoke some cigars. It's a different type of smoke, though, Sure.
Yeah. Now, are there businesses along Sunset Boulevard that were damaged in that park fire?
By Runyon, no. The LAFT, they crushed it. Yeah, they basically just shut that fire down. And luckily the winds weren't blowing. I mean, it was basically pristine conditions. Like if we had, I think the conditions, and again, what do I know? Like I'm chip shotting in as somebody just watching the news. What I've been just hearing is that at least if the winds weren't as crazy, they may have had a better shot containing the other fires. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah, gusts of 80 to 100 miles an hour. There's those embers blowing that fast, carrying the embers so far. I don't think there's anything that you can do.
No, for sure.
Shout out to Christopher Negroni, a member for 1 month, the Original OC channel, emptying our reservoirs. Definitely blame our leaders. New scum. That's Christopher's derogatory reference to the Governor Newsom. New scum needs to go. Mayor and fire chief are DEI disasters.
Yeah, and just thanks to Chris. I mean, Chris, he reached out. I mean, this is what I love also about our hobby. When there's a whole bunch of folks that just reached out, individuals. Just thank you for everyone just checking and whatnot. It does mean a lot, right? And just knowing that folks are looking out. So yeah,
I've been personally impacted by this. Paris Hilton, who's a dear friend of mine, had one of her Malibu mansions destroyed in the fire. We made incredible memories there, cars, and have, we made videos. We made great memories there at that house, and it's sad to see one of her houses in Malibu destroyed. It's very heart-wrenching for me.
Yeah, and ironically, so Nobu survived. I mean, that would have been. Luckily, I'm sure Larry did whatever magic he did to make sure that stuff. Like Joffrey's is still there, but yeah, there's so many other establishments that just
What's up, CQ? CQ is with David SW. He's based in Orlando and Miami. He's a regular panelist here on the channel. Good to see you, CQ. How you been?
What's going on, guys? How's everybody? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thoughts and prayers to everybody in LA. Of course, God bless everyone over there. As somebody who's been through a few big hurricanes and things like that, the shock there's always shock, but just hug your loved ones tight, and you'll get through this.
Yeah.
Logan Hall says, OC, now that you say that, I remember seeing you in one of her videos on Pornhub. No.
I didn't know you were an actor, OC.
Those have all been taken down. You guys had nice hair back then. Yeah, I had about 15 years ago. I actually had hair. Hey, Whole Milk says CQ is here for the premium Cars and Chrono leads. I don't know if you know Cars and Chrono, but Cars and Chrono is a friend and a great collector, tremendous enthusiast based in Los Angeles. And by the way,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, CQ. Hey.
And Cars has, I don't know the name of the watch. It's a black watch with a white face on the right-hand side and some kind of open thing with maybe a tourbillon on the left or something like that. And it's a black label edition.
Yeah,
what is it called?
Yeah, is it Optimum?
Yeah, it's the Optimum. So there's the Optimum, nice. But I think what he's referred to is a tourbillon, the Ruthenium. So that's a
Never
different
heard of
piece.
It. Oh, okay.
I know how OC feels about FP. So.
I love the people who love Journe, put it this way.
That's actually a great damn. I want to put that on a t-shirt. I also do love the people who love FP Journe watches. So I agree with that sentiment wholly.
Yeah.
Now, what do you make of the latest piece? This is Zuckerberg on the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify, appearing apparently today, or it was published today. This is at least his third FP Journe. This is known as the FCC, named after Francis Ford Coppola, which is a special watch that has the 5 fingers, and it famously goes down to the middle finger. You've seen this in person, both you guys?
Yeah. Do you know the story behind this piece? Like how
Tell us.
Yeah. So I was at the boutique chatting with some of the guys there, and basically, Francis, he's not a big watch guy, right? So it's not really his thing. And I guess he was having dinner with Francois, and they were just spitballing just different ideas and whatnot. And Francis came up with this concept around, hey, like, how would you envisage like a watch basically based upon hand movements, like signing, sign language, whatnot. Mm-hmm. And Journe, I think he took it upon himself more as an intellectual exercise. And my understanding is like this took over 10 years for him to design and engineer and ultimately fabricate, and came up with this watch. And he gave, I think, not the prototype, but I think the first piece, the first or second thing, he gifted it. Coppola, I think, at one of the Oscars. And called him up before, as he was at the Oscars, to actually gift him like one of the early pieces to say, hey, this was from our discussion way back when. And yeah, delivered.
And then he decided to productionalize it and turn it into a model. And my understanding is that they make about 10 or 15 pieces a year of this particular reference. So it's very,
really
very
that much?
Yeah.
And so I guess people are also asking them to make a version with the bird as well. Mm-hmm. And he's like, forget the word he used. It's a very French, like it wouldn't be not appropriate, but there was this expression he said. It's just not It'll come back to me, an adjective, but it just sounded so much like him that yeah, you wouldn't make a one-off.
Well, the one like amazing thing about this watch is like when you look at it, is like, what is this? Like a hand on a watch? But he literally did invent a whole new way of telling time. And it's like ingenious. It's not for everybody aesthetically, but this is reinventing the wheel, you know, and that's why so many collectors enjoy it and why it's an important piece, because like most watchmakers would have had that lunch or that dinner with Francis Ford Coppola and like never executed on a very crazy idea. FP Journe is the mad scientist who says, well, why not? And does it. And that's why people buy it, you know? And until a collector really explained it to me in that way, because I was one of the guys when my guys came to me about this watch, I'm like, hey, now we're in a little, I don't know what's going on here. And then collector like talked to me for an hour, and I was like, from that angle, now I completely get it.
Yeah, and again, like I also understand, like Journe, as I think every watch brand, there's very polarizing opinions, not only on the brand but also specific references, right?
Correct.
I mean, for every brand you name, there are pieces I just don't like either, but there are others I like. So it's not like you're going to love every single piece. I mean, for this one in particular, you got to really, number one, I think, be a fan of the brand just given the price tag. But this is definitely a certain type of collector that's really into this.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, CQ.
Now, I mean, to even get one of these right now, you're Journe Circle, right? I think it's, you know, I can pretty clearly state that the one that ZUCK has now had to be a secondary market piece, right? Because he's just so fresh to collecting. So this piece isn't even about money, right? I know collectors who, you know, still waiting for this, and they are deep into the Journe rivers, you know, into the waters, that so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna open up a little. My first time, I think this is the first time on the stream. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this little mid-winter's night dram bourbon.
Hold on a second. Let me make you big here.
That looks great.
A midwinter night's dram.
What's special about this? This looks very interesting.
It's a really great bourbon. I think right now it's a bit overpriced. Depending on you're asking, I think they're going for a little over 150. I think back in the day you can get these for 70, but they've gone. I think a lot of it's done with the branding. I mean, it's a great bourbon, but there's so many other amazing.
But if I spend the 150, am I enjoying my bottle?
Yeah. Well, it depends how deep you're into bourbons. Like if you're a purist, there's like you can go with a lot of other bourbons that are much more cost effective. But yeah, for me, I also just love branding as well. Yeah.
Me too.
Super clever, right? In terms of how they,
I love it,
even with the acts and the scenes and whatnot. So
I'm gonna buy a bottle. You know, you sold me. Branding is everything, you know, and good branding is so hard to get right. Good marketing is so hard to get right. We see it in the watch industry every day. That, like, you know, I appreciate a well done job from beginning to end. That's why, you know, when watches leak and everybody gets, you know, the brands get upset, I understand it, because there was like a marketing person who put so much time. Cheers. I'm cheersing you with a IPA from this side.
Yeah. This is Watch Falcon, by the way, on Instagram. I met him in Geneva. Yeah, and he always puts his pieces on very interesting looking straps. So this is it looks great on the green lizard or snakeskin or whatever this is.
A python. I mean, just talk about a jet stream piece. You know, something that nobody else.
Nice job.
I mean, but it really is, right? So you wear something like this, you could wear it in the subway. Nobody knows what it is. But when you're really at a very, very high elevation, you know, and there are other big airliners around you, you show this watch out, and that, you know, it can cause silence in a room of 200 people. This watch, literally, you know, in the right room, you pull this watch out and a line starts to form, and then you have to get a chair and a seat so people don't drop your watch, because everybody needs a wrist shot. Everybody needs a picture of it. So I think, you know, if we can classify pieces as jet stream, this is definitely a jet stream category watch. And I love it on this green and black python strap.
Right. And we won't even bother defining Jetstream piece. If you want to
No,
learn
no.
more about that, reach out to the real Diego M on Instagram. He will provide you with a full definition. F12305 in the chat. By the way, if you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications. There's a lot of new people coming in because it's Friday night. People don't have anything to do. Plus, the Zuckerberg is bringing in a lot of people into the channel to learn more about what's going on with him. I think this is less than 6 pieces per year, by the way. The Astronomic is only 4, only one watchmaker working on these kinds of models. Thank you.
I was gonna say that 15 pieces sounded a little too high for this piece. The one thing we can all agree on FP Journe is they are very limited in production, and this watch is very hard to make. So I can see less than 4 of these getting really produced a year, but probably he's expanded a little bit and people are focusing on it, but very, very hard to make. Then you got to QC this because the problem with selling somebody a watch that's $1 million is you want them to get it and it works. The problem with handmade watches is they often don't work. So it's a fine thread they got to walk on. That's for sure. This is insane. This is like,
but it's not insane for him because he probably we know that he has a curator, whether that's someone in California or someone at 1916 Company or somebody.
So I did do a little. I can't say. Maybe we'll.
You can't say, but you've done some research.
But I did do a little bit of research, and it was just digging at me, man. It was digging at me. Because the type of watches that he's collecting are so specific that it became from let's say 1,000 people could have sold that watch. Then it became 100, and now with this watch on his wrist, we're talking about 8 people, 7 people. So I did a little bit of research, and I did kind of confirm, who might be behind curating his collection. And I will say that it's what I thought. He's somebody who his beam was flicked or his light switch was turned on for watches, and he reached out to somebody who really helped him curate in an amazing way. Because this is what I would help him curate. If you came to me with $1 billion budget, because now, as a watch guy, as much as you want to talk shit on him, it's hard. We're gonna joke about him, whatever, but I still want to see it. And he has it on the red strap too, which is this curator would do that type of thing. So it's like this is the best way to wear it on a red strap. You're doing a Mr. Wonderful on a FCC, you know what I mean? It's like when I saw it, I was like, man, this is very, very nice. But I did happen to confirm, and I can't say it's not these aren't rented or something like that. He's just he's on the game. He's on the game.
He could be, if he keeps going, the collector of 2025, and in a year where everyone is kind of retrenching a little bit because of maybe Rolex is a little boring and Rolex just jacked up prices by 15% on full gold Daytonas, and this whole concept of starting the journey with the brands, AEP, Patek Philippe, it's turning a lot of people off. Maybe this is what it will take, Zuckerberg getting into the watch hobby to revitalize and bring some energy, or it might bring a ton of new people into watch collecting. I mean, he's a polarizing figure, but he is very public, and people are going to notice that he's now wearing wristwatches. Oh, what is that thing? Grubel 4C? Yep. You saw Cars. You saw he was wearing a Grubel 4C the other day.
ZUCK.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I'd say this is all for. We're just talking about the watch industry and for watch people and our ecosystem. This is nothing but positive. Right? Because we want more young blood into watches, right? We need people to buy the lower end brands, to give them money so they can start doing better things. We need to get out of just buying, the Pateks and stuff. And him wearing this right after wearing a Grubel makes so many people go and watch Tim Mosso videos, makes so much people just read random articles because what the hell is a Grubel? What the hell is this hand watch? Why is he spending $900,000? And through the search of the whys, you're gonna get some people who start trickling in to our hobby, which I think overall is a good thing, because he's not these aren't hype watches. These aren't like everything here, was fair priced. Let's say that. I can't say over retail, under retail. Who knows? Because if he was my client, I'm not a person who gets you, but I'm gonna get you if you're Zuck. I gotta build my house, right? I gotta say,
well, you're providing a service though. You're providing ultimate convenience and expertise and advice. So
exactly, and I'd say you're a premium client for the. Imagine if I just charge you 2% on the watches he's bought so far. We've already kind of built a really nice house in the Virgin Islands. You know what I mean? So, so that's the end goal. Anyways, but yeah, he's doing a really good job. I think it's a positive thing, and I would dare say he is but one Hodinkee video away of overthrowing John Mayer in less than 12 months. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. One Hodinkee video. If you see him next to Ben Keimer, nobody even talks about John Mayer anymore. He's done. AP says, screw you, everything.
I know, but regardless of how impressive his collection is, I think there are a lot of people who are detractors because they're like, well, his heart isn't in it. His soul isn't in it. He's collected too many pieces too fast. He can't be really emotionally invested in the hobby. He's just, throwing a bunch of money at it, saying, hey, bring me some watches, just like, and just throwing them on. Like this Grubel 4C is a handmade one. It's a very expensive watch. I mean, I have no doubt that he's buying watches that. Does he like every single watch that he's been given?
Well,
do you think?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that because I'm not privy to them, right? But what I would say is like these are not the watches to buy if you don't like them. There are much more other watches you can buy even without going bling. You could just go straight long. You could just have an amazing Elang Zone collection, and we would all still be like, "Oh my God, he went straight long" and stuff like that. So I think he has to at least like them a little bit. I think the people who say like, those are people also. If I win $1 million today, they're gonna tell me my struggle wasn't a good struggle. It's like that type of thing. It's like people. I only say this from the place where I have a few clients and I've known quite a few people who didn't really collect for a majority of their life, really didn't, or maybe when they were younger, they were in it and then they just didn't do it. The kids were doing this and that. They weren't making money. Then all of a sudden, boom, they exit out of a business. And like the kids are in college, everything's good, everybody's good. And I got like 2-3 mil that my wife is like, babe, I just had this conversation with another client and his wife is like, please spend some money. You never do anything for yourself. You're always doing everything for others. And I've had this conversation since the beginning of my career. So it's very easy. And I've seen it happen where somebody who's just like, hey man, I have no limits on the purse right now. Right. What would you do in my shoes? And I build them a collection like this. You know what I mean? So I could see it. I could see it being that like that's exactly what happened, and it's like, why not? If I was in his position, I would by now it'd be worse than this. It'd be Christophe Claret. It'd be worse than this. This is him. This is somebody being like, listen, I'm gonna create an amazing watch image for you, so nobody you speak to will ever be able to say you don't know shit. There's nobody, even Zack Attack.
And I have a specific question for you on that. But first, I want to say hello to Renee Delapon in the chat. We got Doc Mick, Jonathan Smith. We've got Nick Da Vinci, Father Artifact. Good to see you in the chat, Father Artifact. Boston Collector is in the chat tonight. Ryan Singer reminding everybody to upvote the live stream. What's up, Ryan? And someone asks, what would you specifically advise? You don't know him personally, but what would you specifically advise for Zuck that you haven't yet seen him wear?
So the thing, he's already picked some amazing cherries off the tree, so it's like, really, where do you go from now? I'm a big Grubel lover, so I think he needs to have he needs a double Balenciaga for sure. That should be his everyday piece.
We're about to have a debate between you and Cars on Grubel 4C coming up. So,
I'm a big fan. I think he needs a double Balenciaga from Grubel. He needs to completely have. He needs to have a full Journe. I would have him have a full Journe brass collection, at least one full set. So whether it be the steel set, the ruthenium set, or a full Tokyo set, he needs one of those to shut up anybody who'd ever approach him about Journes. And then we got to go into bespoke watches at this point. Everything else is pedestrian because you have a FCC. So everything else is like, it's like you've, let's not be, I don't want to say bad things, but like he's climbed every peak you'd want to climb already. Everest is nothing to him. Kilimanjaro is but a weekend stroll.
Well, I think to that point, CQ, sorry to interrupt,
but please,
I don't think it matters what he owns, right? Because at a certain point, when you're at that level, like everything's attainable. So it's almost like how, and I don't know how he, like, I didn't realize this whole watch thing came with him, but whether he has an advisor or not, it really is irrelevant with him because ultimately, a big part of the watch game is also the chase and stuff that maybe is outside of your realm, but at that level, he can get whatever he wants, right? So this
but the chase isn't something for him because he has someone.
Absolutely not. So even with him bringing a ruthenium set, a Journe set, like what does that really matter? Because okay, sure, he has it because he can get it, but people already know, like he can get whatever basically.
But then, so that's when you make it a little bit more fun, right? And then you start hunting provenance, right? So I would say like, well, I want to own, every piece that was a Simon Sphere piece that went out. If I collect a set, I want it to be, a special number to me and my family or my wife, which would make it difficult. And then would take a little bit of a hunt. So if I was his advisor, that's what I do. And I just wrote a big essay to one of my clients because you need to have strategy. You're correct. You cannot just get everything you want, or else you have too much, right? So you do have to make things a little bit hard for yourself, and you have to because so much of this journey is that weight and that urine, and you're edging yourself basically for these watches. And then when you finally put it on the wrist, and then you get to do streams like this and you unbox it, like that's all part of your ownership experience and the joy of owning that watch. So right now, that's a part he's probably not getting, right? I don't know his friend circle. He might have a friend circle who's very impressed. He might be trying to impress Mr. Ambani. And this would be maybe things that are like, oh shit, you got FCC. Oh shit, you got this. And he's dealing with the type of curator who can provide those moments for him. Where if right now he's playing big bank, little bank with somebody in WhatsApp, which this is almost, I could see that now that I'm saying that. Like he's dealing with the right person to be like, oh, they pulled this, bam. Oh, this, FCC. Let me know in a year when they try to figure that. So yeah, you definitely have to set up some type of strategy for yourself to keep it fun, to keep it lively. But when you just have like that much money, and again, just being in the Middle East, I've just they're just a rich amount of people who just have unlimited wealth. They're from all regions, but just they live in the Middle East. So yeah, you got to give yourself a why, and that's always my question: why are you collecting? So he's gonna have an amazing run, and I'm sure he'll end up doing something quirky. And you'll see him with some weird brand. Maybe he'll fall in love with Regepi or something. He hasn't done his first Switzerland trip yet. So when he does that, he'll have a real it's like having a foursome.
Do you think do you think he has even time to appreciate movements and finishing and guilloche and anglage and perlage? You think he's at that level already?
If he's a reader, yes. If he's somebody who's like his way of winding down is reading, a lot of people always wonder, how does Tim Marceau know so much, right? And Tim Marceau has a lot of like God-given abilities that none of us will ever approach. But a big thing, I'll give you a secret of Tim Marceau. He reads so much. He reads and he educates himself, and he's really about the scholarship of horology. And that's why he has all the facts, because he's just read it so much. He's just regurgitating facts in an amazing way that we can only dream of. So if ZUCK is the type of person who likes to read and likes to find information, then yes. If not, no way. Because to appreciate, it took me 12 years of selling watches to even appreciate something like this. You know what I mean? Like the first 10 years you could have showed me this, and I'd have been like, what? Okay. I wouldn't have even known how to sell it. I wouldn't have tried to sell it because I don't even understand it. Now I can, have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and sell you this watch by dessert.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So with this Grubel specifically, this is the handmade one. What do you? Cars has a history with Grubel, and not to you don't have to say anything negative about the brand, but
I love this. This is my favorite Grubel, though. By the way,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I mean, you put this under the loop, the finishing is just remarkable. Now, is it $1 million remarkable? I mean, shit. At that point, there's a lot of stuff you can get for one bill, but but this is an insane piece. But these also wear a little bit larger as well, so you got to remember that about the Grubels. Hey, so just maybe switching gears a little bit. So I have a question, right? And this is something kind of flashed my mind, as we were trying to get out here, like maybe even question out into the panel, but to folks in the chat, I'm curious, right? Like when you're trying to get out of your home because there are flames all around, you're not like your mind's running 1,000,000 miles a minute. You're just trying to think of what to grab. But the thing about the watch, it did dawn on me, like there was a watch I just grabbed to leave the home with. I'm just curious in the chat what watch that would be, and maybe you guys as well. Like if you were in that moment, and assuming you're not going to grab your entire collection, you don't have the time, which watch would you guys grab to bounce with?
A Breitling Emergency, if I had one,
because it might come. Because it's actually practical.
Exactly.
Well, I had a G-Shock already packed in the go bag, so that's gonna.
Oh, see, Arius, you're smart. You're much smarter.
But that's it's just stuffed in there. You could just leave it in there. But like, out of all your collection, you grab a piece. What would it be?
It's a rhetorical question for me because most of my watches are in the bank, and then if the watches that are at home, they're all in exactly the same spot. So I could grab all of them pretty easily. But the one I would probably grab would be the Patek Philippe annual calendar. It's just it's one of the more expensive ones, and actually that one's easily replaceable. I mean, I do have other watches, but they're in the bank. So, but assuming they're all here, that's a good question. Very good question. Probably still the Patek. I do have all older things like a King Midas and the Texan, but those are insured. They're all insured. That's the guys, insure your watches and make sure you're properly insured. That's which is a big issue in California going forward. Is going to be liability insurance, fire insurance, and a lot of things like that.
Yeah, I don't insure any of my watches. None of them. Yeah, zero.
Well, you do have a giant vault though. That's the size of a refrigerator. That
don't know anything about that.
Everything's locked.
Zero comment on that.
OC, quick question, because I had a client today ask me. He told me that banks are no longer letting people open safety deposit boxes. Is that a thing anybody's heard of, or maybe his specific bank? Because he was also. Go ahead.
I think that's a bank by bank issue. Like I do have banks near me that have security deposit boxes, safety deposit boxes. My watches are in a safety deposit box. Now I know that those aren't technically that the bank isn't liable if something gets lost from those boxes. But what are the chances? What are the chances that something's going to happen? I mean, they're there for a reason. They're there for you to put cash, jewelry, important documents, and things like that, and that they're safe. Now, if you have something at home, fireproof or whatever, then good for you. But to me, like I feel much better. Like when I'm going on vacation, I don't want my house to be a target. Right. Regardless of how secure it is and how whatever, I still want, there's zero chance that they're going to be able to get into the bank vault and get the watches. So
there's like a portable bank vault service he showed me from Malcolm Amit, who does like a lot of the, the high end luxury shipping. That's like they bring it to your house and then they take it. So I was like, but interesting.
It's how does it work?
It's basically
pick it up?
They give you a safe that you can leave at your home, and you call them, and they'll pick it up and store it at the Malcolm Amit vaults. If people don't know, Malcolm Amit is probably the most used in the secondary industry, at least in terms of high net worth or high value transport of items, armored shippers. So if you ever need to ship something big, they're great.
Pito asks, is this the same Q from Watchbox? Yeah, previously from
Good
Watchbox
design.
1916 Company, now with David S.W. in Orlando and Miami. Yeah,
Hey,
you
I
can find
remember
him
what
on
I was there when it was What You Want. Not many know.
way back then.
Not many know.
Like
Shout out OJ.
when I was 14. CQ underscore the watch guy on Instagram if you want to reach out to him or follow him.
Yeah, give me a follow.
What about grabbing your father's day date?
Yeah, no,
Cars
that would
past
definitely be the
the
one.
door.
Yeah, my father still holding on to it though in New York, so
Okay.
but that would definitely be the one. But yeah, ironically, the one I went for was the Everest out of all of them. That's one I grabbed. Yeah.
Yeah. That one's it's hard to get that one. Yeah.
I think it was just second nature now. It's just the one I'm constantly wearing. So I didn't even grab my wife's gift to me for our wedding. That was going to be left behind, but which would have been, yeah, she'd have been looking at. I was like, "Where's the watch? I could give to you."
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was so valuable. I forgot it. To me personally. Jeff in the chat says my dad's day date. He left me. That would be his choice. Irreplaceable. Very good. Good question though. Yeah. I don't have a bag prepared. Like, everyone should have, maybe in the event of an emergency, something that's ready to go with change of clothes and a few valuables or whatever.
It depends where you're at also, right? And what the situation is. Like if you're in the city, like where are you going to go? If something that really required you to jump that quickly with a bag, right? You're just going to be mired in traffic. I mean, you saw the footage, right? In Palisades Park, people just leaving their cars. Like it literally was like one of those zombie movies. Like you couldn't have scripted it any better. This was exactly what happened. People just left the cars on the road and they were bulldozing them out of the way. Because the cops were yelling at them like, you guys are basically going to die. Just run. Like, get the hell out of here.
Right.
Yeah, my wife's like packing her purse. I'm like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Hey, hon. Hey. Well, hold on. Sorry, guys.
No, she's talking shit.
This is another piece that ZUCK has in his collection. The AP. The AP in this one is I'm sorry, this is a Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe Grand Complication Minute Repeater Tourbillon. This is a 5303.
I just got busted, just FYI. As I'm saying that, my wife's
I knew it.
Jesus Christ. She's looking at
me. She heard you?
Yeah. She's ready. She was like,
oh, man. No, they're doing some sort of like vision party. She's hosting with her friends out of vision board. I don't know what that is. Like something where they're mapping out
the future. Yeah, it's a good thing.
And she's like, be quiet. She's like, be quiet. You're being too loud.
No, she's basically like, when are you going to put away the dishes? I got friends coming in.
Yeah, get to work, buddy.
Yeah.
This is a nice watch, though.
This is a 5303 Minute Repeater Tourbillon Grand Complication in rose gold from Patek Philippe.
Like by Zack Attack. You got to think like somebody like Zack, because Zack Attack is, the lord of celeb watch guys. You know what I mean? It's like he sees somebody like Zuck and is like, hey, take it easy. Because I'm the one. But like he's a billionaire's son and Zuck's the billionaire. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the thing. Most of the older billionaires, they're not on Instagram. Most of the guys with the craziest collection, they don't even, life is too sweet for social media. You know what I mean? So for guys like these who are really being stalked, is interesting. This is a piece I would have gotten. This is fire.
This is a Bulgari. And you're like, okay, well, what is it, like a $20,000 Bulgari? No. This is a titanium Octofinissimo Ultra, and this was limited to 20 pieces. And this is the thinnest. This was at the time, I believe, the thinnest watch in the world. $529,000. Yikes!
Yeah, I hope he didn't pay that. That's one of those watches, though. It's so rare, and this is without checking Chrome 24. It could either be something where you're paying all the money for it, or you're getting like an amazingly great deal on it. because there's no real liquid market for this. One of these will sell a year or something like that.
Right. He's stuck, in
At
other
least on the
words.
secondary side.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I just got to help Mrs. Cars for a few minutes. I'll be
No
back.
worries. No worries. Apes is in the chat. He says, do you think Zuck should, let's forget about will. We don't know if he will or not, but maybe should he get into Acrivia or Rishepi and or MB&F? Would you recommend those brands?
I would. I think he's somebody who should go that route. I think he should get bespoke. I would get bespoke Acrivia. I would get bespoke Rejep. Go speak with him. Rejep is around his age. Rejep has an interesting story as well. He's actually like a really, really nice. He's like one of those guys you're glad that was made famous. Like you ever meet him and talk to him, you're like, oh, I'm glad I'm glad you got chosen to be the next FP because you're like an amazing person and your story is amazing. So I would, if I was his advisor, I would push him towards that. And BNF as well, just because they just make such amazing mechanical art. And that's a great brand where you can collect everything and all the watches will look different. So I love brands like that. Whereas like, okay, I can be an MB&F guy, but when I open up my watch box, that's all MB&F. Every watch is like completely different. So those are actually two brands I could see him explore. And again, Max Booster is a very approachable person, even if you're not like a huge spender. So somebody like this could sit down, have multiple dinners with Max, and like really get into his head. So I could definitely. To me, you go independence. If I'm him, just go independence. You can meet these people. You can really make it. You could be like Mr. Wonderful. And like if you guys don't really realize what's going on, Mr. Wonderful is like living a watch nerd's dream, basically. They make red straps for him. You know what I mean? Like, what the red strap?
Yeah, I mean, he also cares a lot about value. So he's been approaching the brands and he wants to get things that are unique and one of one. That's the only way for a mainstream brand to get something that will be very, very that will retain a lot of value, is to have it made specially for him, and then at some point he auctions it off as something that was made special for Kevin O'Leary. I
have a question for you. How and for the chat, how important do you think provenance is? Like, how much more of a premium are you paying for the Mr. Wonderful watch in 20 years?
Well, I don't give a shit about Kevin O'Leary, and I don't think he adds much provenance. But I think if you're talking about sports figures or athletes or celebrities that have a tie to the watch, then I think it adds more value. What do you think?
I don't know. I was watching a YouTube video today, and they were talking about it. It's like it would have to be a very specific, person for me to I really can't think of anybody who I pay much more up. Now, if you're saying like this is a Breitling or something owned by, I don't know, an athlete or something, and I'm paying like $2,000 over, 10% over, 15% over, sure. But something that I'm paying like 5x, 10x over, I don't know. I don't know if that yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm good. But there, depending on what it is, that people who pay. It's just an interesting conversation because I don't know if I have any clients who've chased a heavy provenance piece before.
Yeah, I think you see it in auctions where, I mean, we just saw it recently with the Tom Brady auction, but even before that, auctions of celebrities and sports figures tend to bring not only watch collectors but fans of that particular celebrity, and where that intersects is where you get the sweet spot. But I can't think of anything that any celebrity where I'd pay way above market for a watch. It would be like, hey, if I can get a watch that happened to belong to so and so, and it's a good value is still important, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Sometimes I think it's getting back to reality, but I do remember COVID, man. And it was just like it was like floating in space. Some of the conversations and like just the numbers and like, So I'm glad we're back to like where value is important. I understand what happened and like but it's like there was a minute there, man, where it's like I don't know what's going on.
Yep. We got Buckley in the chat. Buckley says, "Good evening, you sexy sons of bitches.
Hey.
We talking Zuck again?" Yeah, we're just a little bit. We can talk about whatever, but got Cars and CQ on the panel, so whatever they want to talk about.
He's the biggest watch influence in the game right now. We have to talk about, ZUCK. This is so insane.
It is insane that ever since that wedding, the wedding in March of 2024, where we all saw there were videos like, oh, Mark and his wife were looking at the guy's watch. Sure enough, within a very short time after that, all of a sudden you start seeing him with the baggy T-shirts and the crazy hair and the watches. And this is another example. This is a AP code 1159. This one's in pink gold with the tourbillon. It's a chronograph, and it's worth a couple $100,000.
They were so happy to sell this. This was the one. This was the one they were like, let's see if we'll take this.
You don't think you wouldn't have picked this one, huh?
No, because for me, it's not that beautiful of a skeleton dial. When I'm going to an Italian restaurant, I often order Italian food. So when I go to a brand like AP, who's known for legendary skeleton watches, I want their best. This is like the chef was a little drunk one day, and it's like an Italian fusion thing, which I'm sure is great. But like I came because I want the Bronzino. You know what I mean? I want the real stuff. So in my opinion, no, this is not the one. But every watch is for everybody. But when you go to these, you just said value. You know what I mean? And it's like, if one of my clients came to me about this, is like, do you love this? Does this make your heart go boom, 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 boom? If so, buy this watch. But if you're telling me that you just like it, then like put that down. Put that one. Mm-hmm. There's so many other watches you could get.
Buckley in the chat also says, the only watch I would want from a celebrity would be Sylvester Stallone's solid gold Tiffany stamped Submariner. What about this one, Buckley? How about this Sky Dweller as seen on the wrist of Sylvester Stallone? Look how beautiful that is. Some like a meteorite dial with gold, in looks like white gold there with diamonds all over. How about that one?
The picture doesn't look good, but in person, like this is amazing. Like, I'm sure like in person, you're like, if I was Sylvester Stallone, I'd wear this too,
Yeah, maybe.
Hey,
maybe not.
The whole thing about like diamonds and watches, like encrusted watches like this, it's all about like a confidence thing. Not in like, do you have to have confidence? It's like you're like a performer already, because this is like putting a spotlight on you. You know what I mean? So like if you're one of those people who have like that ultimate confidence, you just like always light up the room and always like just want to talk to like 20 people or just have like 30 people staring at you, then you can wear one of these. And I've seen it pulled off amazingly. I've seen people rock things like these and just like embrace that attention and rock it. I'm like, oh, now I understand it. But like, me, no, thank you.
Thank you, Billy Jeans, for the Tiffany blue. Oh, I can't say that. Turquoise blue highlighted super chat. £2 super chat from Billy Jeans. Thanks for the A grade panelists and good watch talk. Thank you, Billy Jeans. Appreciate that. We try. Actually, I was okay with mediocre, low quality watch talk, but then CQ and Cars jumped on it. Got a lot better. So there you go. By the way, I just want to say that Boston Collector says, CQ, you're a hater. This code and right here, this code 1159 has 111 interior angles and is a truly masterful architecture on the skeleton tourbillon. How dare you?
Sure.
Sure.
It's I am a hater. I'll be honest. I'm a hater. Because again, it's just like I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sure there's beautiful interior angles on this. I'm sure It's an amazing watch when you hold it. I'm sure the tourbillon is beautiful, everything like that. I'm also sure if you offered me this watch, there ain't nothing I could do with it. I'm also sure everybody you offer this watch is going to lowball the hell out of you, which tells me the appreciation of this watch is not there. Therefore, the existence of this watch should be in question. And then when you put that in combination with, they also make some of the most legendary skeleton watches, it just shows me that like this was not the one to choose. But I'm just a guy who sells a few Rolexes here and there. That's all I do.
That's it. Just a lonely Rolex salesman. By the way, news out of AP today, breaking news kind of in a way. Let me see if I can show this. AP, who several years ago applied for trademark protection for the design of the Royal Oak. So they submitted a trademark application to the United States Trademark and Patent Office for the design of the Royal Oak, a watch with a circular dial with a tapisserie pattern, with an octagonal bezel, with bolts on it, with an integrated bracelet. That application, which I'm showing on the screen right now, was submitted back in, I believe, 2020 by Audemars Piguet, and they requested that design be trademarked. Well, what happened was the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office actually denied their application, and they appealed it. And news out of the United States Trademark Office this week is that the appeal board, the trial and appeal board for the Trademark Office, has rejected AP's appeal, and they're handing them a big loss, and they say that watch and that design cannot be trademarked.
I would what are your thoughts before I speak?
There are a lot of watches that look like a Royal Oak, so I can understand why they would want to make sure that design is protected, but I don't know all the particulars that go into what can be trademarked and what can't be. Apparently, this did not meet the criteria to be a trademarkable product design.
Well, I think at this point, the design, which is Gerald Genta's design, is so iconic, and so many watches are derivative of Genta designs. So like this, but the bigger picture here is the fact that AP's wasting time for a lawsuit like this shows you like the priorities aren't in the right place. No reason to trademark this design. No reason at all. There's a reason why Rolex doesn't care, right? Like they don't care if you copy their watches, because people still want the real thing because they give good watches. They produce good watches. But to the other point, you'd have had to do this back in the 70s, because at this point, those designs that Genta have done have just like permeated through all of watches so much that who are you going to enforce this on? You know what I mean? There's almost every watch brand has a derivative of an integrated bracelet watch. You know what I mean? Like, and every of them in the 70s had them, because remember, Gerald Genta was making $100 a design. So he's just probably smoking cigarettes, just chain smoking, cranking out designs. So I think this is a weird, maybe there's something I don't know on why they needed this, but I don't, it seems like some lawyers making some bank, in my opinion.
Well, they definitely want to make sure that, I mean, that they're a one, not that they're a one-trick pony, but the Royal Oak is incredibly important to them. And I think they maybe want to set the stage to prevent against counterfeiting and other brands mimicking their designs. I'll just read a little bit from the ruling. Actually, this is from the article on thefashionlaw.com. Audemars Piguet has been handed a loss in its bid to register what it says are source indicating aspects of its most famous watch collection. And a precedent-setting decision last week on January 2nd, the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board affirmed that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office's earlier refusal to give the go-ahead to 2 trademark applications for registration for, quote, 3-dimensional configuration designs of a watch. That's the picture that we showed earlier. Actually, there's one on a bracelet and one on a strap. So the design of the watch, namely the watch face, bezel, and casing in one application, the band/bracelet of its coveted royal oak. The Swiss watchmaker had sought to register the 3D configurations of its watch designs as trademarks, but has faced repeated pushback on the basis of functionality and a lack of acquired distinctiveness. So there you go, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office denying AP's application to trademark the royal oak design.
I'd love to know more on what spurred them to do it in 2020 and why they keep. I mean, of course, understand you want to protect your IP. That I completely understand, but like it's one of those things where it's like, is it your IP? It is, yes, it is their IP, but also like the designer. It's like cars. There's so many cars with similar shapes. I doubt they fight. You know, like the PT Cruiser and another car I'm thinking of, they share the same designer and the shape is so similar. But like, I doubt it was worth it to have a legal argument over like, this is my shape. Like nobody else will dare make this watch and charge the same type of money they're making. The people who are doing it are making $200 watches, $500 watches. Maybe there's a $1,000, you know, like, I don't know. I just don't, maybe, you know, I don't know. There's something I'm missing.
Guys, if you're in the chat and you are thinking about jumping on the panel, I would say now is the time, because we're not going to go for too much longer unless we get a different kind of panel kind of hitting us into a different direction. So I'm just going to drop the link into a chat. Not that I don't love having Cars and CQ on, but I have other stuff to do and coming up in like 30 minutes or so. So I'm going to drop the link to join the panel. Some of the more outrageous and or just knowledgeable voices out there, feel free to jump on the panel if you have the time. And that would be much appreciated. Boston Collector in the chat says, the gray market would rather spruik garbage Gerard Perregaux. This is, I think he's baiting you. Garbage Gerard Perregaux watches and Ulysse Nardine ugly stuff. He's definitely baiting you to customers than a beautiful Audemars Piguet Code 1159. It's truly shameful how underappreciated AP is in the watch space.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know if you saw this CQ, but AP CEO Ilaria Resta did an exclusive interview with CNBC a couple of days ago, and we did on this show full analysis of it. We played the video, the interview in its entirety, and provided some analysis. Seems to me like she's now been there 2 years now, 1 year, 2024 in her official capacity as CEO, and then a year before that, shadowing Francois Benamia. But she was on staff and she was kind of, kind of getting ready to assume the role. So she's been there quite a while. It did impress me how much of a knowledge she had coming from the fragrance vertical and from Procter & Gamble, how much she knew about the company's history, its legacy, what they do, the market, their distribution, and their strategy for going forward. So, huge shout out to Ilaria Resta. She seems to have a very good handle on the strategy there. By the way, she talked a lot about, she was asked about growth, and she said she didn't really care about chasing growth for growth's sake. What they do is they focus on quality and they focus on innovation, and through that they will have organic growth.
I agree with those words. If they focus on quality and innovation, they will have organic growth. I'm going to watch that video. Listen, I have high hopes for her, and I really do hope that she succeeds. I think a lot of what I have gripes with are just like the tail end of Francois anyways. And like a lot of that is going to take a while to work its through work through the AP body. So, let's see, like, in the next 4 to 5 years, what the brand looks like, and we can come back and really talk.
Yeah. And by the way, in the area of innovation, she mentioned 3 main areas. Number 1, focus on complications. So that means high complications like sonnery, minute repeater, tourbillons, all that kind of stuff, but also miniaturization of existing complications, making things smaller, more compact, more ergonomic. She talked about innovation in materials, that they're absolutely obsessed about different materials, and you've seen that come to fruition with things like bulk metallic glass, carbon, ceramic, obviously. So they're going to, sand, gold, unique alloys. So they're going to continue to push in that direction. And the third is what they call decoration. And that's, finishing and gem setting and all those kinds of things. So huge shout out to Ilaria Resta, CEO of AP. She sat down for an exclusive interview. If you want to know more about that, we did a full analysis here on this channel a couple of days ago. Just go check it out.
I'll check that out. Curious about the analysis. I'm sure it was insightful.
And Mr. G's in the chat. Everybody's copying the Royal Oak. I think you have some brands that look like the Royal Oak. Some come from the 70s and some are kind of more modern. Like you have like the Laureato that looks a little bit like the Royal Oak, but it is from the 70s. And then you have things like the Maurice Lacroix Icon, right? That kind of looks like a Royal Oak, but that's something that was designed more recently.
The problem is if you put an integrated bracelet on it, it's going to look like a Royal Oak. So then you're telling people, it's like the whole thing with like rubber straps is like, or like diver watches, I should say, is like, it's hard to make a diver watch not look like a Submariner because a diver watch is a time-only watch with a rotating bezel. So inherently, they all will kind of have to look alike. You know what I mean? Yes, you got a Seamaster 300, which Omega kind of morphed into something different, but like you can't blame for divers looking like divers because they're dive watches. You're not gonna get a Hublot Oceanographic 4000 every time,
Yep. So, yeah. Anything else going on you guys want to talk about? If anything, guys in the chat, if there's a particular question or area that you want us to talk about, happy to do it. Otherwise, we'll probably. We don't have to do 5-hour live streams here. We could just do a quick one, and we actually could go to the after show, where we do a private VIP after show. Is that something you guys are up for?
Yeah, I'm down. I'll hang for a bit.
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. So I'll tell you what, guys, we got 10 slots. If you want to join the VIP after show, which is off stream, then I'll drop the link in the chat. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Upvote the live stream. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Make sure you turn on all notifications. And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace out. See you later. Have a good one. CQ, stay right where you are. Hang tight.
All right, I'm not moving. It was good seeing you guys.